Hello and welcome to the channel. Federal government deceiving Nigerians was the message from organized labor as they stormed out of a meeting with representatives of the government. After initial talks on Wednesday, yesterday's meeting was to fine-tune and consolidate on some of the measures being proposed by both parties as regard the fuel subsidy removal palliatives. Unfortunately, the meeting failed to take off, with labor unions insisting on the August 2nd nationwide strike. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Labor leaders storm out of Villa meeting, insist on strike. Representatives of the organized labor on Friday evening stormed out of a meeting with the Presidential Steering Committee on Subsidy Palliatives scheduled to hold at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja. The president of the NLC, Joe Ajaero, led the delegation to the office of the Chief of Staff to the President around 5 p.m. but was soon spotted exiting the building. The steering committee members met the government delegation on Wednesday, where the two parties agreed to reconvene on Friday to get a brief from the government subcommittees on mass transit, compressed natural gas, and cash transfer. The steering committee was set up by the federal government to draw up intervention plans to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal on Nigerians. On their way out of the COS office, the Labour members accused the federal government of using the meetings as a ploy to deceive Nigerians. A member of the committee from the organized Labour who spoke on condition of anonymity said they are not prepared for the meeting. That's the truth. They are using cover to deceive Nigerians. There are supposed to be 3 subcommittees, the Mass Transit Subcommittee, the CNG, and the cash transfer, to brief us in the steering committee, but the government was not prepared for the meeting. In their introductory remarks, they made excuses and wanted the meeting to continue. The meeting did not form a quorum. We hire people that operate on the basis of process. So, if there is no quorum in a meeting, what do? You will adjourn for lack of quorum. There was nobody to meet with. The chief of staff was not there. They are taking us like children. However, our correspondent learned that the COS to the president, Femi Gbajabiamila, waited for the labor delegation alongside other team members, but the organized labor delegation from the NLC and the Trade Union Congress suffered slight delays upon entering the State House over clearance issues. The reason for the delay was that the names of members of the delegation were not sent to the gate early enough for clearance. Gbajabiamila later excused himself to attend to other official matters within the villa, while other government team members waited for the organized labor team to arrive. We were detained at the gate, one of the leaders of the labor delegation told journalists. Friday's gathering would have been the fourth in a series of meetings between the federal government and the organized labor since the removal of petrol subsidy. The steering committee last met on Wednesday, but the federal government's representatives could not convince the labor leaders to shelve the protest. We are going ahead with the protest because we have to be emphatic on what we put in our communique to say we are commencing protest from the 2nd of August, Ajaero had insisted. But the federal government noted that the meetings had made some progress. We've agreed to continue to make progress. It was a very productive meeting. The focus was really on how to fast-track a lot of the interventions that will bring relief, particularly around CNG, mass transportation, cleaner energy, transportation, and reducing the impact of the cost of transportation and the increased cost of transportation. So, we've made good progress. The special advisor to the president on energy, Mrs. Olu Verejen, told journalists. Meanwhile, the National Executive Council of the NLC has endorsed the August 2nd nationwide strike and mass protest proposed by the body over the recent hike in the pump price of petrol. The federal government had told the NLC that it was legally restrained from embarking on the planned nationwide strike. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, B.E. Jedi Agba, in a statement on Wednesday said the union was restrained by the order of the National Industrial Court from embarking on any strike on the removal of petrol subsidy. She said the court had on June 5th granted an injunctive order restraining the NLC and the Trade Union Congress from embarking on the planned industrial action or strike of any nature, pending the hearing on the termination of the pending motion on notice. J.D. Agba advised the union to explore other means of negotiations with the federal government rather than resorting to self-help and undermining the orders of the courts. However, in a communique issued at the end of its meeting on Thursday, the NLC NEC members also approved other decisions reached by the Central Working Committee of NLC at a meeting held on Tuesday. The communique, which was signed by President and General Secretary of the NLC, Joe Ajaero and Ima Ogboaja, respectively, and made available to our correspondent on Friday, read in part, NEC in session after exhaustively deliberating and reviewing the current socio-economic situation confronting Nigerian workers and masses and the attendant mass suffering and deprivation across the nation as a result of the unfortunate actions and policies of the current occupiers of the seat of government, arrived at the following conclusions in agreement with the Central Working Committee's earlier deduction that the government has shown disdain and contempt for the plight of Nigerians, shown in reasonable dialogue and refusing to take active measures to protect Nigerians. Instead, it resorted to robbing the people to pay the rage despite the massive outcry across the nation. To this end, NEC in session applauds, reaffirms and supports all the decisions of the Central Working Committee meeting of the 25th of July, 2023 of the immediate reversal of all anti-poor policies of the federal government, including the recent hike in PMS price, increase in public school fees, the release of the 8-month withheld salary of university lecturers and workers, and increase in VAT. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please turn the notification bell on. Thank you. The immediate inauguration of the Presidential Steering Committee has agreed in the earlier consequential dialogues to begin the building across the nation of a coalition of all Nigerians, where all will be leaders and all will be followers, to call on all civil society organizations and Nigerians wherever they may be to begin mobilization to take action on their own to save our nation and to lead and organize mass protest rallies across the nation to demonstrate outrage against the inhuman actions and policies of the government. The NEC agreed to give the federal government a 7-day ultimatum within which to meet all our demands and to embark on a nationwide action beginning from Wednesday, the 2nd of August, 2023, to compel the government to reverse its anti-poor and anti-workers policies. That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Bye.